Hey everybody, Jane here, and today I want to talk about the books I've just recently added to my Pango bookstore.
Pictures and patterns put into words that stream across the page, capturing life as soft spoken.
Okay, so about 6 months ago, I started a Pango bookstore because I knew I wanted to start getting rid of books that I'd already read and no longer wanted to keep. In some cases, I can give them to friends, or I have people with similar reading tastes who I can gift them to, but not every book is giftable to the people I know. We do have some little free libraries in our town, but often those aren't in the best of shape and the best kept, and I just figured that a Pango bookstore would be a fun experiment and a way also to help recoup some of the costs because books are not usually free. So I will tell you my success so far has been kind of middle of the road. I have sold, I think, 6 books out of the maybe, I think at one point I had 40 listed. And it was like one, it was a book, it was a series, and a person bought like all the books I had in the series, and that's the only sale I've had so far. So I'm hoping that by adding some new and exciting books that I've just recently finished, maybe these books will be what people are looking for and they will find a home. Just as an FYI, all of these books back here are ones that I am finished with and need to list on Pango and haven't yet. So keep an eye out. Hopefully we'll be doing more of these. I will say if you're considering using Pango to list books, I haven't actually bought books there. I plan to, but the opportunity hasn't presented itself. One thing I will say is that listing takes a lot more time than I was expecting. And so for me, doing more than about 10 in a day is just too much. So I find that like I get in there, I grab a stack, I list them, and then we're good for the day. So it's definitely been a process backlisting stuff that I've taken off my shelves that I am doing an unhaul of that I know I don't want any longer. So it's going to take me some time to fill my shop with all the books that I don't want to read or that I've read and don't want to keep any longer. So sorry, kind of rambly. Let's get into the most recent listings. So the first is a series, and that is the Shapeshifters of the Beaumont. We have book 1 is Wolf and Duke's Clothing. Book 2 is A Most Unusual Duke, and that is a werebear. And then book 3 is A Duke at the Door, and I believe this is a were-lion. Yes. Yes. Okay, so here's the scoop on these. I bought these brand new. I read this one, and the writing was just not for me. These books very much sound, the writing is very flowery, it sounds very classic and very old, and I think the writer was really trying to immerse the reader in the time period by trying to sound like it was authentically written in the Regency. And for me, that just didn't work. I did enjoy the story. I think I gave this one 3 stars. It was cool, the stuff that was happening. It was cool characters. I was interested, but not enough to fight the language to get through it. So these have never been read at all. They are brand spanking new, and this has been read one time, and they are on sale in my Pango store. The next book I did buy used, I believe, and then I also read it. It's a little bit older, bit more wear and tear, and that is The Undomestic Goddess. This is about a lawyer who goes off and she is having an issue at work. She basically runs away to the countryside, and this house household thinks that she is applying for their housekeeper, and she decides, yeah, I need a new start in life. I'm going to go ahead and do that. So she applies as the housekeeper. Shenanigans occur. It's Sophia Kinsella. It's hilarious. It's chick lit. It's romantic. It's a good time. I gave it a 4-star when I read it. I really did have a good time with it, but I don't see myself ever going back to it. So I decided there's no reason to keep it. The next book on my list I have not read, and I won through a Goodreads giveaway. So this is Your Soul's Gift. Now, I normally do read the books I get through giveaways. This particular book I had every intention of reading. I'm fascinated by things like, what psychics say about past lives and reincarnation and stuff. This book just is not for me. So I realized looking at the index that this book and I probably weren't quite going to hit it off. I am going to just show you the index so that you know what kind of topics are being covered in this book. And particularly chapter 8. Yeah, chapter 8. Chapter 8. See what chapter 8's about. I looked to see how that was handled and decided that this book was not for me. So basically in that chapter, one of the things that the author says, and okay, it's nonfiction, they're psychic, maybe this is true, but maybe we shouldn't write it in a book if it is that in a situation where parents, the author said, in a situation where parents are committing, SA on their child, that was something that the child and parent had negotiated in the prior to life. As they were mapping out their life plans, it was something that was negotiated. And again, I'm not going to say, I'm not psychic. I don't know. Maybe that's a thing. That sounds awful, and it sounds victim blaming, and it sounds icky, and I just couldn't. That was as far as I could go. That was the minute I was like, oh, nope, I'm out. So just proceed with caution. I think that there are definitely people who this book is for. There are probably people who are not going to have the same ick factors I do. Yeah. Couldn't read it. I felt so bad because I thought I was going to be really interested in it. Have read other things like Sandra Brown and stuff. Yeah, no. Nope. All right. The next book is The Mistletoe Murder. This is 4 short stories that are holiday themed murder mysteries. I bought this used, so I am at least the second owner. I read the mysteries. They were fine. I think I gave this a 3-star. It wasn't anything that really stood out to me. I am not generally a huge short story person, so that's probably part of it. If mystery short stories are your thing, this book might really work for you. The next book is unfortunately one I DNF'd. This one I did buy new, and I only read, I think it was like 70 pages in. There is a little bit of damage to the cover and a couple of the early pages just because I'm really rough with my books. I don't try to be. They go in my backpack and I tote them around, and This is about 2 werewolves who move in next door to each other, and the person who used to live at the girl's house was kind of enemies to the guy's family, but like she seems okay, and they kind of become friends, especially as they're like critters getting in each other's yards. This was actually super cute. I loved the characters. The writing style did not work for me, and I pushed through and pushed through and pushed through, and then just got to the point where I was like, I am not having fun because the writing style isn't working. I think this could super work for other people. It just wasn't my cup of tea. The writing wasn't. The story was a lot of fun. The next one, The Dead Poets Society. This is my favorite movie, and they made a book of it. And the movie was first, and that's important in this discussion because the book really doesn't bring a lot new to the table. I was hoping for more of the movie that I love. And this brought a couple little things, but it's pretty much scene for scene the movie. So I think if Dead Poet Society is your favorite thing in the world, this is worth picking up. I read it. I had a good time. I don't need to keep it now. I did give it a 4-star when I read it. All right, the next one is another book I really enjoyed, and that was A Lady for Duke. I also bought this one new. Oh, and Dead Poet Society I bought new too, if I hadn't said that. I bought this one new and read it one time, and it was good. I really had a good time with it. I just don't feel the need to keep it on my shelf. I don't think I'm going to reread it, even though I did enjoy it. It's kind of chunky. This is about a trans woman who comes back after being MIA at Waterloo in her true identity, and her best friend, who she fought at Waterloo with, is having a hard time accepting her death. So she and her sister-in-law go to comfort him. Obviously, he doesn't know who she is, and they start falling in love. It is very cute, a little bit on the long side. The language or the prose is a little bit flowery, but it is worth a read, and it was so nice reading about a trans character and a disabled character, and it was just really lovely. Highly do recommend that one. All right. The next one I bought new from the author. Again, it's one I enjoyed. I just don't think I'm going to read it again. And that is I'll Be There for You. This is about a girl who is grieving the death of her father. Her father passed away in a car accident a year ago, and she joins this drama club, and I think they're producing It's a Wonderful Life. I don't remember what they're producing, but I think It's a Wonderful Life. And she becomes really good friends with this guy named Mac, who is part of the show as well. I really enjoyed this. I had some issues with the book. Seemed like it was going to do a thing, and it didn't do a thing, and I kind of wished it had done the thing, but I understood why it didn't do the thing. This is a beautiful exploration of grief. I cried multiple times. It was so good. It was just a lovely read. The author is amazing. Like I said, I bought this at an author event and got to meet her. I did not have her sign it, and especially because I am unhauling it, I'm kind of glad that I didn't have her sign it. But yeah, this was lovely. I just don't think I'm going to read it again. I gave that a 4-star as well. All right, the next one is a book that I bought used, and I bought it to read for Nonfiction November, and it is Critical Care. It is an oncology nurse, and kind of like her early nursing, a couple memoir type experiences that she had. I enjoyed this a lot. I can't remember if I gave it a 3 or 4. I think it was a 4, but I can't swear to you. And I really did enjoy it. I felt at times it was too memory and not enough nursing, and there were some issues with it. But overall, I thought it was a good time, especially if you are somebody who wants to work in oncology and work as a nurse. This might really be worth picking up. And the last book that I'm adding to my that I've added to my Pango store, and this is one that is very popular. It just didn't particularly work for me, and because I don't always pay attention to what I buy, I have multiple copies of it. So I'm actually at some point going to have multiple copies of this in my Pango store. I don't think I have it listed yet, but I might. and that is The Girl on the Train. This is about a girl who takes a train every day to go to work, and she sees something happen, and she kind of becomes a detective trying to figure out what went wrong. I didn't love this, but I think that was a me thing. I don't think that was a book thing because I've heard a lot of people rave about it. I gave it a 3 star. I did not predict the twist, but I felt like I wasn't given adequate breadcrumbs to predict the twist until we were at the end. I also didn't find the characters particularly relatable or people that I could care about, but I have that problem a lot with thrillers. It is, I think I bought this used. I bought it used, but it doesn't really look like it's ever been read. But I do think I bought it used. All right, guys, so those are the books I have just added to my Pango store. So if you are interested in any of them, please go to my Pango store and place your orders. I cannot guarantee how long they will remain in my Pango store, hopefully not long. While you're there, feel free to browse the older books that I have there. Like I said, I'd gone through and like pulled stuff off my shelf, and the first couple books that I put on there were things that I pulled off my shelf that I was like, yeah, these are ones that have been there for a while and I just don't think I'm interested anymore. And a lot of them were fairly old. So I understand why people aren't necessarily picking them up. These are newer, so I'm hoping more people are interested in them. If not, though, we'll be adding more books to the Pango store soon. I guess it'll just be a matter of waiting until the right person comes along for the right book. And that's just what we do. All right. If you've read any of these books and want to comment, please put the comments below. I'd love to hear about your Pango store experiences, either as a buyer or a seller. Place those below. And if you don't have anything you really want to say, but you want to help the algorithms, just leave an emoji of books. This has been Jane. I'll talk to you next time. Bye!